Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I received a box from GoldenMate. It is a 12 volt, 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and open it up and see what we got. Okay. Big piece of styrofoam on top, that's good. And a very small user manual. It looks like it's, well, pretty much 2 pages. So we'll look at that in just a little bit. And then the battery. And that is it. I don't see any terminal screws. Let's see what these are. Are these the terminal screws? Oh wow, these are, look at that. These are the terminal screws. I don't know if I like that or not like that, because they're basically protected. They're like a hard, they're like a hard plastic. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, actually. It's very, very strange. I've never had a battery like this before. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and put these back on. Okay, well, let's go ahead and just give it a visual. On the top, it says GoldenMate model LFP12100. It's a 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour, so that gives you 1280 watt hours. The front, let's go ahead and tip it over. Basically all the information: safer, longer life, lithium iron phosphate battery, charge voltage is 14.4, 14.6 max, charge current is 20 amps, 50 amps max, so it's kind of a slow charging battery. Continuous discharge is 100 amps, so that's good. Operating temperature is 0 Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Discharge is negative 20 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. This tells me right here that this does not have cold temperature protection. So we're just going to assume that right now, just because it says that it will not charge under freezing. Let's see, do not disassemble, may explode if exposed to fire. Do not expose to temperatures above 60 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Use only recommended battery charger. And the recommended battery charger would be anything around 20 amps or 50 amps max. Let's see, the side. The side just has like a ridge. So that's kind of nice. The back has nothing. The bottom has nothing. It does have this nylon strap, which makes it pretty easy to carry. Right off the bat, it does show positive and negative on here. But I wish they would have made this the red. I wish they would have made the positive red and the negative black on these covers. That's just, that way it's just visibly easier to understand what you're connecting. All right, and with the manual, yeah, the manual is just this. There's no, if you look at other manuals from, like I did a review from Power Queen, and their manual is, multiple pages of information. And this GoldenMate manual is just the very basic information. It tells you the product specifications, which were basically the same thing on the front of the battery. It does tell you that the dimensions, it is 328 millimeters across. It is 172 millimeters thick, and the height is 212 millimeters. And it does weigh 11.7 kilograms. The case material is ABS plastic, and the terminal types are M8 bolts. So for testing, I'm probably going to take these off and actually put other M8 bolts on, so it makes it easier for testing. It does say that, like I said, the maximum continuous discharge is 100 amps. The discharge cutoff voltage is 10 volts. It says about 10 volts. So when we do our test, we will discharge this down to 10 volts to get our capacity. And it does say that the life cycle on this is 5,000 plus cycles. It does say that you can hook up 4 of these in parallel for 400 amps, and you can connect 4 in series for a 48 volt 100 amp hour battery. And then you can combine all those together. If you had 16 of these batteries, you could possibly have a 48 volt 400 amp hour battery. The bummer part about this, after sales service, the warranty period is 12 months. Other batteries that I reviewed, they give you 5 years. This one's 1 year. So you got to put that into consideration if you want to buy one of these. And then it also says that the warranty will be faulted is if you try to open it yourself, or if the surface is damaged, failure or damage caused by an accident, if you drop it, something like that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check the voltage of how we received it. And then we're going to go ahead and put it on a charger, and we're going to go ahead and just start that capacity test right now. Okay, I got some other M8 bolts here, so I'm just going to go ahead and swap them out just for testing. And also the washer and the lock washer are not attached to the bolt itself. They are separate, unlike these other ones where the washer and lock washer, are attached right to the bolt. So that's another thing. I do like how these terminal connections are nice and have that copper look. I think that's kind of neat. All right, let's go ahead and get the voltage. Should be around 13.1 something. And it's 13.34. So that is pretty high, actually. That is usually resting voltage for a full battery. So this battery came to us, I'm almost going to say fully charged, which is, in my book, that's kind of a big no-no. These batteries should only be about 50% when they're stored or shipped. So this being 13.34, it's got to be at least 80%, if not higher. So, but let's go ahead and put it on a charger to charge it up all the way, and then we'll do a discharge test to see if we actually get our 100 amp hours. All right, I've got the battery connected to my ZKE battery tester. It's an EBC-A20. Unfortunately, this battery tester is pretty slow. It can only charge and discharge at 5 amps or something like that. So this test is going to take a long time. Because what I plan on doing is I plan on using this charger tester to charge it up to 14.6. And then I'm going to discharge it down to 10. And then hopefully from there I'm going to set it so it will charge back up to to 14.2, something like that. And then we'll see the curve of the charging and everything like that when all of this is finished. But you'll definitely see me in different clothes because it's going to take a couple days, actually, probably. So, but let's go ahead and start it up. Let me show you the screen. And also my screen, I tried to do a screen capture with this software and it does not show you all of the information. So I'm just going to point the camera at the screen. I know it's kind of janky, but it works. So let's check it out. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and connect. So now we are connected, the charger is connected to the computer. So we're going to do a cycle test. And we're going to go ahead and go to settings. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is we want to charge this battery to 14.6. So step 1 is going to be charge, constant voltage. The cutoff can be 1/10 of an amp, that's fine. The current, I want to charge it at 5 amps. And I want the voltage to be 14.6. And then I'm going to add that. All right, and then the next step is I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for 1 minute. Add that. And then I'm going to start my discharge. So step 3 is going to be a discharge constant current. I don't want to cut off in minutes. My current, I want to have that, I'm going to set that to 5 also. And my voltage, I said I would put that at 10. Now, 10 is pretty low. I almost want to do 10.5. Because if the BMS dies, I don't know if this tester will wake the BMS back up in order to charge it. But it did say, you know what, let's just do 10.5. So 10.5 volts, add. And then we want to wait another minute. So we go to mode, wait 1 minute, we'll add that. And then we want to charge it back up, charge constant voltage. We want to do another voltage cell charge. Current is going to be 5. And we want to get this battery back up to 14.2. That's always, I love that number, 14.2 for a nice full battery. And we'll add that. So all this shows is that we are going to charge it to 14.6, and it'll be interesting to see how long that took. We'll be able to see that will actually show us, how many amp hours went into the battery before it was fully charged. So that'd be interesting to see. And then we're going to wait a minute, and then we're going to discharge it down to 10.5 volts. And then we're going to wait a minute, and then we're going to charge it back up to 14.2 volts. Okay, and so we'll hit OK, and all of those steps show up over here. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and click Start. And you can see at the bottom, the beginning voltage is 13.33. The capacity, that's the milliamp hours that's going into the battery. And then the average voltage. And then here are our linear parameters. This is the amperage, which is right around 5 amps going into the battery. And the blue line is the voltage of the battery. So I'll go ahead and come back when this is completely done. And like I said, it's going to take a long time because I'm charging and discharging at 5 amps. So you got to think 5 amps for a 100 amp battery. That is a 100 amp hour battery, and I'm charging and discharging at 5 amps. That'll take 20 hours. So 20 hours to discharge, and then 20 hours to charge back up. So I'll see you later. All right, well, the capacity test of this GoldenMate 12 volt battery is done. So let's go ahead and look at the results. Okay, what we see here is we see a graph of when I first plugged it in, and it reached up to 14.6 volts, and it waited a minute, and then the discharge started. So it immediately drops back down to, around 13.2, 13.3, and it goes all the way down until it reaches 10.5 volts, and then it waits another minute. And then it goes back up after the charging cycle, and you can see it charge all the way back up to, right around 14.2. So that's what this curve represents. The red line is the amperage, and that is on this side, so you can see that we were basically charging and discharging at 5 amps. Over here, you can also see that the capacity from when I received the battery to when it was fully charged, I only put in 10 amp hours. So that means that battery was almost at 90% when I received it. And I feel like that's a big no-no. Again, I feel like lithium iron phosphate batteries should be stored and shipped around 30 to 50%. And then the discharge test gave me 99.67 amp hours. I hate it when I get a 100 amp hour battery and it does not test to 100 amp hours, but also you have to remember that 100 amp hours equates to 1280 watt hours. And over here it did pass with a 1287.74 watt hour capacity. So it is right on the line of acceptable in my book. And then the charging, when it charged back up, it did again give us 99.27 amp hours. And that time it did give us 1322 watt hours of energy. So even though it's right on the line, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a pass. I feel like it should do better, but again, it's right where they say you're gonna get. So, okay, so let's go ahead and close this out, because while I was performing this, I was looking more into the manual, and I don't see anywhere in the manual where it says that this has any kind of waterproofing rating. So I kind of looked at the battery and I see little rubber spots where I believe there are screws. So I think we're gonna try to take those off and see if we can open this battery to kind of take a sneak peek of what's inside. Okay, yeah, you can see these little rubber spots right here, and I believe those are screws. So let's go ahead and get this off. See what's underneath. Yes, there are screws under here, so let's get these off and pop this open. I recommend that if you buy this battery, do not take the top off, because it will void the warranty. Well, FYI. All right, and let's see how easy this is. Oh, look at that. Very easy. Okay, so what we have is, wow, we got a whole huge cluster of positive wires, and they look like they are, I'm trying to find the gauge, 14 gauge wires. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 14 gauge wires, and we've got 4 10 gauge wires. And the 10 gauge wires are rated at 200 degrees Celsius, and as the positive are 200 degrees Celsius wires as well. Let's see, we got a little bit of protective paper here. Oh, we got a big sponge right here to kind of keep the lid from being crushed onto, like being crushed inside, so that keeps that. Here are our balance leads. Let's see if we can take this off. It's tearing the PK1101, it said on the BMS. Let's see if we can read any more of that. Oh yeah, there's a lot of glue. Oh wow, this glue is kind of really holding everything on. They really glued this up. And this right here, it looks like we have a couple of temperature sensors. I'm guessing those are just for over temperature sensor. They're not cold temperature sensors. Yeah, and this thing, oh my god. And there is glue all in the inside here and here. So this, I'm not gonna attempt to actually try to pull this pack out of this case, because it would be a disaster. And this battery is fully charged, so I don't really want to screw with it too bad. But overall, I mean, this looks pretty good. I wish I wouldn't have ripped this. Darn it, that's a bummer. But if anyone knows anything about this BMS just from that very, very limited information, please leave it in the comments. Yeah, and this glue, yeah, they've glued all all of the negative connections to the battery. So everything is nicely glued up. I like how they put this cover on here so you don't have to worry about anything shorting out. And then there's also covering for the batteries. And the batteries, you can see right down there, they are cylindrical lithium iron phosphate batteries. And it looks like, holy cow, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, darn. I can't count them all. I'm not sure how many batteries there are. Darn it, I'm really sorry. I wish I could tell you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe 11 batteries. Would that be strange? 11 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not sure. I can't confirm that, but there's at least 50 batteries in here, I can tell. And they are cylindrical. That's really all I can show you. I'm sorry. All right, so yeah, there's a sneak peek of the inside of the battery, and everything looks pretty tidy, glued and screwed. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it back together and give you my final thoughts. Okay, so what do I think of the GoldenMate 12 volt 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery? Well, the positives are that it gives you what they state. It gives you exactly 100 amp hours. I wish it was, there was a little bit of a leeway there, but you get your 100 amp hours. It does have covered terminals built in. That's kind of a plus. And that's about it, really. I mean, it's a battery. It doesn't have low temperature protection. It does have high temperature protection. It does have short circuit protection. It has all the protections that you would expect from a lithium iron phosphate battery with a built-in BMS. I feel like there's more downsides to the battery than I'm afraid to say. First of all, the terminal covers, I don't mind that they're built in, but I would at least like them to be the positive and negative common colors of red and black. That way it's just more distinguishable. You don't have to try to look at the embedded positive and negatives on the case itself. Second of all, I'm not really a fan of the cylindrical cells. The only reason for that, I mean, this thing can boost, I mean, it says that it can do 5,000 cycles, and that is exactly what you want from a battery, something that's going to last 10 years. That would be great. But for every individual part in the battery, I feel like that's a point of failure. And just think, there's like, I'm sure someone out there knows exactly how many batteries are in these, judging by the voltage of each battery divided by the nominal voltage of 12.8, all that stuff. It's probably 12 by 6, it's 11 by 10 by 8, Anyway, each one of those batteries is a point of failure in my book. And if one of those batteries fails, that is a drop of voltage. And that drop of voltage can make it so the battery it doesn't work anymore. I'd rather have a battery that has 4 cells, so there's 4 points of failure when it comes to the cells in the battery. Also, the battery is not, it's not waterproof at all. It doesn't have any kind of IP65 rating. And I only say that for people that will use these batteries for, trolling motors, stuff like that. I would not want to use this battery for a trolling motor because it doesn't have really any kind of water protection. It does have a serviceable case, so you can take out the 6 screws and lift the case up, but the internals aren't serviceable at all. There's glue everywhere. You would really have to tear this thing apart, I believe, to get to the internals. And then all of the cells, you know, and then like I said before, there's cylindrical cells, so those aren't really serviceable either. So it's a serviceable case with non-serviceable internal parts. I think that's accurate. And also, you know, the manual is only just this. It's very basic. So I feel like this is not really a beginner battery. You would have to know what you're doing with this battery, I believe, to get full use out of it. You're not going to be able to read the manual and know exactly what's going on. Along with the manual, you know, on the manual, it does say on the back that the warranty period for after-sale service is 12 months. But then I looked at the website and it says that the battery has a warranty of 2 years. So, you know, why is there a difference in the time frame? I mean, is after-sale service different than just the warranty of the battery? I don't think so. And it also says that, you know, if you disassemble the battery without permission, it voids the warranty. So why make the battery with a top that can be removed? Also, I always prefer my 100 amp batteries to be able to charge at 100 amps. That's just my personal opinion. Honestly, I've never come anywhere close to charging a battery at 100 amps. So a 50 amp charge, max charge, will be totally fine for my needs. But that's just a little gripe of mine. I would love to just have batteries that have 100 amp discharge, 100 amp charge, and you know, if you are going to charge it, we would recommend that you charge it at 20 amps. So a 50 amp charge BMS, I wish it was a little bit higher, even though I'm not going to charge it past the 50 amp charge rate. And I think that's about it for this battery. If you want to look more into it, I'll have their website down in the description of this video. And I appreciate everyone watching this video, and thank you so much. And you all have a great day. Bye-bye.